much good. There can be no deviation from the path of righteousness. There can be no temptation, because there is nothing left in man to tempt. He has achieved that which is all, and he will no longer settle for some partial success in some minor detail. The actual experience is the same thing as we find in the Oriental system, or we find in the writings of the various early Christian saints. This ecstasis, this momentary participation, this oneness at 1 month with the eternal. It only lasts a few seconds, and then we're back again in the old world we were in before. But that which comes back into that world can never be the same. There is something now that is entirely different. Temptations don't exist, because no temptation can exist when the individual becomes aware of the totality of available good. There is nothing he needs anymore, because he has fulfilled his own greatest need, and that is the realization of the presence of God within himself. Little by little, therefore, these Neoplatonists work toward helping themselves and each other to finally submerge their own identities in the divine love. And they did not create a great system of temples or shrines. They did not even become an acknowledged faith in the world. They simply became a way of growing that anyone can take that wants to, anywhere. It cannot be theologized, it cannot be organized, it cannot be sold, and it cannot be bought. It is a simple experience of releasing through the simple daily deeds of life that grandeur which is locked within everything. Just as the flower passes from the bud to full bloom and then has its seed, so the soul, unfolding, comes to full glory and then bears its eternal fruit in the redemption of man. This type of thinking seemingly is more or less needed right now. A great many people probably aren't going to get it right away, but more are reaching for it than ever before. They are no longer so much interested in sects and creeds. They are no longer so much interested in the old traditional forms of worship, but they have a great need, a great spiritual need of the immediate presence of God. They need to have an experience of some kind that forever destroys or overcomes or eliminates or completely dissolves the insecurities of life. That the individual then lives also in an eternal life. One moment of enlightenment and the individual becomes eternal. Not because he'll be in the body all the time, but because that moment reveals to him the eternality of himself. He is an undying, immutable, inevitable being. He always has been and he always will be. And when he knows this firmly, it makes no difference whether he is born or dies. The eternal continuity of life preserved forever in the love of God. That all forms are manifestations of a great system of spiritual enlightenment and education. We are so blessed by the plan as it is that we can ask no better. The only difficulty is we have to discover the blessing. We have to realize that the thing as it is right, and that the only way we can change it still more and make it more right is by being right ourselves. And as we grow and master the problems of existence, we are never expected to face the same problem twice. Once we have had victory over a problem, it ceases. When we have a victory over materiality, it ceases. When we have a victory over the wilderness in ourselves, we have victory, and we have escape and defense at the same time. We are free of that which we do well, and slave to that which we do not do well. Therefore, it is our constant duty and responsibility to learn more and more to do everything well that we possibly can, and in a very quiet, peaceful, and gentle way to go along growing as nature would have us grow. This is a very special day as it comes in each year, Mother's Day, and it is part of the great program of realization that all relationships in life are symbolic of soul relation. From the beginning of time, man has worshipped the principle of the Divine Mother. Every religion has had among its most principal deities a great feminine power. Isis, Mary, all of these different doctrines worship the principle of life-giving, not only because the mother has been given the right to become the parent of generations, but because in the very act of motherhood, probably more than in any other act in the world today, the woman has the experience of the soul. She has a moment of tremendous release of natural love, of protection, of gentleness, of dedication, of self-sacrifice. And the moment of birth is therefore one of the great mysteries of life, and comes perhaps among the natural functions of life the nearest to the revelation of soul power. In other words, the mother principle is, in a sense, the soul principle itself. And in almost all religions, the soul has been symbolized as feminine. The psyche of the soul is a feminine deity. And all in the religions of the world, it is the mother of mysteries. It is the great goddess of the Ephesians. Everywhere it is always a symbol of the soul power, because it is peculiarly manifested in the experience of motherhood. So that on this day we feel it's perfectly wonderful and right to honor the mothers of the world, and to also encourage them to the greater fulfillment of the wonder that is in their keeping, and that their own destiny is largely influenced by this. And in the law of reincarnation, the alternation of sexes means in the end all souls have the double experience of fatherhood and motherhood. And together this becomes a parenthood, which is the parenthood of the soul over the body, and the parenthood of God, or the divine power, over the soul and the body. All this was part of an ancient belief, but it's a wonderful belief, and it is much happier and more cheerful than many of the beliefs that we have today. In other words, happy Mother's Day to all those. And if you have already come into maturity and have children growing up around you, be grateful and find in them also a wonderful opportunity for the development of your own soul potential. And fathers, don't leave them out. They're in the picture too. They may have to wait till next embodiment, however, to go through it. In the meantime, thank you very much.